The most important thing for you to understand about this story is that when I was 6 years old, cowboys were kings. Happy trails, rawhide, the Lone Ranger. I love them all. My absolute favorite was Bonanza. Now, my brother, he loved him some Little Joe. But me, I was a Hoss Cartwright man. Hoss was played by Dan Blocker, this big, tall man, and he wore a 10-gallon hat that made him look even bigger and taller. Now, at that point, my absolute most prized possession was a little plastic cat pistol, and I kept it in its little plastic holster. I had a Western cut shirt with plastic fringe and a red felt cowboy hat. So when my grandfather said, "You want to go see a gunfight?" I was nodding my head before he finished the question. Turned out my grandfather was taking my family, my parents, my brother, and me on vacation to the North Carolina mountains. And we were going to visit Maggie Valley, which was the home of the absolute most exciting Western-themed amusement park I could imagine, Ghost Town in the Sky. We drove all the way up there and spent the night. When my parents got up the next morning, I was already dressed in my cowboy outfit waiting by the door. When we got to Ghost Town, I ran for the chairlift that took you up there, and it was pretty exciting by itself. But when you got to the top, there was this whole Western town. We're talking dirt streets and hitching posts, and here's the jail and the sheriff's. This was beyond peachy. This was swell. Well, I did the first thing that any self-respecting cowboy does when he gets to a town, and I headed for the saloon. And we stayed there until I had my fill of can girls and root beer. And of the two, I'd have to say there was a lot more going on with the can girls. But on up toward the top of the hour, everybody started slipping outside, because at Ghost Town in the Sky, every hour on the hour, there's a gunfight. Well, we got our place to watch in just a little bit. Here comes this cowboy and jangling up the street. You could tell he's the bad guy because he's wearing a black hat. And he gets down in front of the sheriff's office, and he pushes that hat back, and he looks over and he says, "Sheriff, this is Black Jack Calloway, and I'm a-calling you out." Well, just a little bit, the sheriff faces off against him, and Black Jack made his move, but the sheriff was too fast. Wait, there's one on the roof. Black Jack's not dead, he's got a knife. It was exciting. It was so exciting, my parents agreed to stay for another hour so we could watch a second gunfight. But even that wasn't the most exciting thing that happened that weekend. Because you see, in the summer, on the weekends, Ghost Town in the Sky would fly out famous Western TV stars for the weekend. And every so often, they would come out and sign autographs. Can you guess who the famous Western TV star was the weekend we were there? That's right, Hoss Cartwright. It was July hot, and that line was long. But I kept my head down and my mouth shut. My biggest fear was we were going to get halfway down there, and my parents were going to decide it was time to go home. Or my brother was going to do something stupid and get us thrown out of line. Well, they gave you what looked like a wanted poster with Hoss's picture on it that he could sign across there. And when we got down close, you could see there was 2 steps going up, and then this long table where Hoss was sitting, and then 2 steps going down the other side. Finally, it was my turn. I was 2 steps away from meeting my biggest hero of all time. 2 measly steps. Did I mention when I was 6 years old, I was painfully shy? I just stood there. Finally, my brother gave me a shove, and I stumbled up those 2 steps, and I went all the way down to the far end of the table, and I had my hat pulled down, and I was kind of scooting that poster back over toward Hoss. Hoss Cartwright knew what he was dealing with right away, and that big man pushed himself up from that table and got down on one knee right in front of me and just waited. And when I finally lifted my head enough to make eye contact, Hoss Cartwright winked at me. Best vacation ever. Happy trails!